Canada and the U.S. share the longest undefended border in the world. And sure, there's some good-natured teasing hockey versus football, Celsius versus Fahrenheit, poutine versus hot dogs. But when real crisis hits, these two neighbors have a long history of having each other's backs. Hey everyone, welcome back to Geography Facts, where we explore the most surprising, inspiring, and sometimes downright strange stories behind our maps and borders. If you love geography with a side of real human connection, go ahead and subscribe now. And don't forget to like the video and drop a comment below with your favorite cross-border moment. Today, we're telling true stories of when Canada helped save Americans and when Americans returned the favor. From a tiny town in Newfoundland that opened its doors on September 11th, to firefighters crossing borders and even electricity flowing in the dark, these stories prove that geography isn't just about borders, it's about bridges. On September 11th, 2001, after the horrific terrorist attacks in the U.S., the entire American airspace was shut down for the first time in history. Over 200 planes in the air needed to land immediately, and 38 of them were rerouted to a tiny town in eastern Canada, Gander, Newfoundland. This town had only about 10,000 people, but in just a few hours, Gander welcomed over 6,500 passengers from across the world, strangers with nowhere to go. Schools, churches, and community centers became shelters. Residents brought food, blankets, toys, even gave up their own beds. For 5 days, Gander took care of them all. No one asked for money. No one asked why. They just helped. The story inspired books, news specials, and even a Broadway musical called Come From Away, a tribute to the kindness that came from a place most Americans had never heard of. On August 14th, 2003, a massive power outage hit 50 million people across the northeastern U.S. and Ontario. It was one of the largest blackouts in history. New York City went dark. Detroit, Cleveland, Ottawa, and Toronto all shut down. Elevators stalled, traffic froze, and water systems failed. But guess who stepped in? Canadian utility companies rerouted emergency power to critical infrastructure in the U.S., keeping hospitals and water plants running. Canadians also helped trace the source of the failure, a software bug in Ohio, and helped repair and stabilize the system. This wasn't just a technological moment. It was a reminder. Electricity doesn't stop at borders, and neither does cooperation. Wildfires in Canada have become more intense in recent years, and when it gets bad, help doesn't always come from within. American firefighters have repeatedly crossed the border to help Canadian crews. In 2023 alone, over 1,500 U.S. personnel were sent to help battle wildfires in Alberta, Quebec, and British Columbia. They brought helicopters, equipment, and expertise, and in many cases, worked side by side with Canadians to protect towns and forests. Ironically, those same fires blew smoke into U.S. cities like New York and Chicago, turning the sky orange. So in a way, helping Canada fight fires also meant helping themselves. Fire doesn't care where the border is, and thankfully, neither do first responders. The Ocean Ranger disaster, 1982. When an oil rig sank off the coast of Newfoundland, U.S. Coast Guard helicopters joined Canadian forces in the freezing Atlantic, searching for survivors. It was a tragic loss, but it showed how fast both nations mobilized together for search and rescue. COVID-19 pandemic, 2020 to 2021. During vaccine rollout, Canada was facing delays. The U.S. stepped in and loaned Canada over 2.5 million doses of vaccines. In return, Canada later sent surplus doses and medical supplies to the U.S. and other countries. The coal mine rescue in Nova Scotia, 1958. After an explosion in the Spring Hill coal mine trapped dozens of workers, American teams sent equipment, engineers, and even rescue dogs to help save lives. These moments remind us when things get rough, borders fade, and humanity kicks in. Too often, we talk about countries in terms of politics or policy. But real connection happens when everyday people step up in extraordinary ways. Canada and the U.S. may have different healthcare systems, accents, and opinions on bagged milk, but what unites them is mutual respect, shared values, and a long history of helping each other when it matters most. These stories aren't just about emergencies, they're about geography in action. Not just lines on a map, but relationships across them. From emergency lights in the night to beds given to strangers and smoke battled across provinces, Canada and the U.S. have shown that geography doesn't divide us, it connects us. What was your favorite cross-border moment of kindness? Have you or someone you know ever been helped across the border or helped someone else? Let us know in the comments. We read everyone. And if you enjoyed this story, give it a like, share it with a friend, and most importantly, subscribe to Geography Facts for more stories where geography meets the human spirit. From lost islands to invisible borders, this world is full of connections you never learned in school.